and my dreams all fade away.
If the film and TV industry has taught us anything, it's that there's always time for a little match-up in the hallway. No, seriously, fight scenes have evolved a lot from the days where we saw Sean Connery using awkward stunts to show off his James Bond swag. And for some reason, one of the most common battle rooms in media is the hallway. Whilst there's tons of CGI to help with the overall shots nowadays, nothing beats a nicely choreographed stunt sequence with practical special effects. Don't believe me? Well, I'm here to prove that theory wrong with my top 10 badass hallway fight scenes from across film and TV. What's the matter? You scared? Come at me, bro. Jude Law's probably known for being a side character, especially in franchises like Sherlock Holmes, where he's constantly being overshadowed by a British Robert Downey Jr. However, if you can check out 2010's Repo Men, you'll know that this English muffin can pack a serious punch. Jude gets high on his own supply when he uses one of his smuggled hearts for an emergency revival, but this takes him straight to the top of the Underground's most wanted list. No worries though, because we get to witness an epic hallway fight scene that goes from 0 to 100 real quick. Our anti-hero is made to face off against a few guards at first, but that's only a teaser because he goes psycho mode against an entire army of opponents soon after. This scene is so gory and brutal that I don't think I can describe any of the damage being caused here. Man, it looks like Dumbledore really wasn't happy with his box office collections.
My job is simple. Can't pay for your car, the bank takes it back. Can't pay for your liver, well, that's where I come in.
Christopher Nolan is a die-hard fan of Stanley Kubrick, and it shows in the homage he's paid to the legendary director in films like Interstellar and The Dark Knight. However, did you know that one of his most iconic scenes was directly inspired from 1968's 2001 A Space Odyssey? Yep, I'm talking about Arthur's epic encounter where he fights his opponent in the middle of a rotating hallway. Not only are the visuals iconic, they're also practical. That's right, this intense battle was shot using minimal or zero CGI, and I suppose that's what makes it even more appealing. Now, the stunts are amazing and the editing is also superb, but I gotta shout out Yusuf for keeping Leonardo and the team safe during the inception process. However, it's a real shame none of his buddies could appreciate the sick stunts he was pulling off.
Did you see that?
Star Wars sure isn't what it used to be before, but we've got enough content from the older days to still cherish what was once the most beloved franchise on the planet. For this entry, I'm not looking at any of the movies or the Disney Plus shows, it's actually an entry from Season 7 of the animated series The Clone Wars. Darth Maul was one of the most well-received characters from the prequel trilogy, and for good reason. The man's like an evil mixture of Deadpool and Jean Grey. Anyway, the scene in question is when Darth Maul attacks the stormtroopers in a brutal hallway assault. He spares no mercy as he chops down heads, arms, and whatever else stands in his way. It's a little surprising to see such violence in what is mostly considered to be a kid's program, but hey, I'm not complaining about that. The assassination is slick, and the devil-faced assassin looks legit as he mercilessly walks all over his opposition. Kinda reminds me of another scene, but I'm not going to be doing any spoilers for the rest of the video.
I will make sure you stay awake long enough to feel every single cut. Kenobi, you will suffer.
Daredevil has been criminally underused in the She-Hulk series, but then again, there really isn't much going for that sad comedy anyway, so I'm going to talk about the real Matt Murdock in a show that actually makes sense and looks super cool at the same time. Daredevil is being confronted by some prisoners in a high-security facility, but he doesn't have his maroon spandex to bail him out of trouble this time. Luckily, he gets into his element once he enters the hallway and gives the criminals a serious beating while also getting thrashed himself. What really stands out in this scene is that it looks so realistic. I actually thought Charlie Cox was doing the stunts all by himself, but then I checked the BTS shots and learned that movie magic is still a thing. I'll easily take this over the ridiculous CGI the MCU's been subjecting to us though in recent years.
How long have you been practicing law?
About 7 hours.
Well, if you go from when we passed the
I
bar.
was going from we got our own desks.
Oh, then yeah. 7 hours.
Oh Oh boy, this scene really gets my spidey senses tingling. Oh wait, that's the wrong franchise, isn't it? After Moff Gideon and his robot troopers try to get their hands on Baby Yoda, the showrunners decide to offer some fan service and bring out the one and only Luke freaking Skywalker. The Chosen One makes an epic entrance and takes down an army of assailants one after the other. It's such a sick moment, and I'm sure every fanboy out there was crying his heart out when he saw the iconic green lightsaber making its appearance once again. Look at the man go. See, this is how you treat your legacy characters, Disney. The dude pretty much steals the thunder in a show that's supposed to be about the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, aka Grogu. And just like the earlier entry with Darth Maul, this fight is also very much inspired from another particular hallway moment. But just bear with me for a few more entries. I'll make the big reveal soon enough if you haven't already guessed what I'm referring to.
May the Force be with you.
The Defenders might not be the most popular superhero group out there, so let me just say they're basically the TV version of the Avengers in the Netflix cinematic universe. Now, a majority of this scene takes place in the hall room, but it does transition to the hallway, so it still counts. After Iron Fist challenges a business version of Ellen Ripley over her shady transactions, an intense battle breaks out, and as you'd expect, things get pretty violent. That's when Luke Cage shows up to give us some Hulk-level toughness, and then our very own Daredevil arrives with Jessica Jones to take on his ex, Elektra. The fight might seem all over the place at first, but the choreography is actually pretty solid, and I was very impressed with the overall aesthetic. Unfortunately, this was the best Netflix ever got with their content. Well, at least till Stranger Things finally became good again.
But now I have the Iron Fist. The key to what the Hunt seeks. Not yet.
Hollywood has this bad habit of showing us impossible scenarios in fight sequences. My main focus is on those fight scenes where one man takes on multiple opponents at the same time, but they just go after him one by one instead of all together. I know it sounds very silly and unrealistic, so I'm glad there are movies like The Raid, Redemption that show us believable battles. Yoda finds himself cornered when a bunch of goons come after him, so he has no other choice but to fight them. All his opponents take him on at the same time, and they're pretty smart too. I mean, they try to chop off his legs once they see how efficient he is with them. Even Yoda tries his best to separate his opponents so that he has a better chance of taking them down one at a time. Now, this is how you use your brains in a physical confrontation. So here it is. The scene I've been teasing for a while is finally in front of you.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
Not many people would have expected Rogue One to have been such a hit, but it did have a nice story and likable characters. Then everyone lost their collective peace the moment they saw Darth Vader making it to the battlefield once his plans get foiled. I know I've praised this scene countless times already. It's almost as if I'm a Kardashian in front of a camera. However, unlike their booty, my opinion is completely genuine, and I'm sure Kanye would agree. Anyway, Darth Vader shows us exactly why he went over to the dark side when he mercilessly goes through an entire squadron of stormtroopers with relative ease. The mere sight of him combining his lightsaber and the Force to dominate the battle was more than enough to make this film worth the ticket price. I just can't seem to get Matt Murdock out of my mind. It might be because he's a really good lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer.
Anyway, Daredevil decides to bust an underground operation and does so with brute force and skill. This is just like any other hallway fight, but the main difference here is that it's very realistic, just like the Raid entry. Matt's not just blindly walking through all his opponents, he's getting tired, he's stopping to catch his breath, and he's taking time in beating up each goon. This is the kind of stuff that makes you root for him even more, because you can relate to his physical limitations. Not that I'm saying he's one of those literally me characters, but you get where I'm coming from, right? Also, I know some people complain about the excessive grunting, but I mean, I kind of like it, but not in a weird way though. This is is an absolute classic, and you should definitely give it a watch if you have the time. Otherwise, you can just hear me talk about how awesomely shot this fight sequence is. Oldboy is a 2003 South Korean neo-noir film that's easily one of the best movies from the country. One of the reasons for that is Oh Dae-soo, who totally nails his character and gives us a perfect mix of realism and drama in this extended hallway fight scene that keeps your eyes glued to the scene throughout its runtime. Our anti-hero gives everyone a thrashing, but also takes one at the same time, with the character even being knocked down for a few seconds. But then he gets back up and gives everyone the kind of whooping that should have been given to Ryan Reynolds for doing Green Lantern. Anyway, I don't want to spoil much of the movie, so please add this one to your watch list. And that's my list. Like, share and subscribe if you want more content like this, and head over to the description for some exclusive links. Alright then, I'll see you later.